Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody can hear me. We're going to wait just a minute or so before we get started. Um, kind of started this just a little bit early, so we're going to give people a little bit of time to hop onto the webinar, and then we are going to get started with our One America Long-Term Care webinar. Hope everybody's having a great Monday and hope they enjoy their weekend. Brent, are you on here? Can you hear me?
I sure can.
All right, awesome. I just wanted to make sure that you could hear me. We've got Brent on the line from OneAmerica. So before we dive into our long-term care solutions, we're gonna kind of go through a brief introduction, tell you a little bit about IMS, then I'm gonna let Brent take it away. So again, thanks for joining. Brent, can you see my screen? Are you able to, I want to make sure everybody can see that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing the screen.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, I can see it now.
Awesome. So everybody, thanks for joining in. Welcome to the webinar. So like I said, I wanted to dive into a little bit about our company and kind of some of the benefits that you get for partnering with IMS before I let Brent take it over. So one of our big things that we have is our new producers bonus. You're basically going to get either cold hard cash or marketing dollars based upon your level of production. And this will be during your first 180 days. So on level one, you'd be looking at $100,000 in production. You get things like an iPad, $750 in cash. Um, we can do a mailing for you. The $250,000 level, the mailings would increase. You can get it $1,500 gift card. So as you can see, the more you produce, the more benefits that you're going to get all the way up to the $1 million level, where we can do like preset annuity appointments and a bunch of other things as well. Also, we have a referred producer program. So for the people who have joined us and like what we do for them, and they may know somebody that is like, hey, I think IMS can help you out. I think there would be a good source for you. If you refer us an agent, you would get a one-time $50 bonus for every agent that contracts with us. Um, but that's not it. You would also get money as well when your referral writes additional business. The good thing about this is this doesn't take away from your commissions or their commissions. This is something that IMS pays right out of our pockets based on what they write, and this will be paid out every quarter. You would also get marketing reimbursements. So we pay $100 marketing reimbursement per $100,000 in premium for index annuity, $200 per 100,000 for SPL, $200 per 10,000 in target life premium. Our back office support. Back office support is something that we pride ourselves in because we know that you make money when you're actually writing cases as opposed to having to follow up with carriers and chase things down and get forms. Basically, you can put us on your payroll without actually having to pay us. So it'll help you build your business. We have lots of tools and resources. We can help with things like case design. You'll have forms right at your fingertips. So we have our IMS website filled with lots of resources. So if you haven't used that and you're a part of us, I would talk to your sales director and have them give you a walkthrough through our IMS website. We can do life quotes, annuity quotes. You actually have a dedicated life sales director and annuity sales director. So then that way you have an expert that deals with each particular topic. We also have paperless contracting as well that helps speed up things when it comes to getting approved with carriers and getting on board with us. As I briefly mentioned, our IMS website, we have a lot of sales tools that will be at your hand. We've got term quoters, so if you need to run a quick quote, you're able to do that. We've got some of our forms that are going to be online, industry links, annuity news, annuity grids, long-term care production grid. We do e-apps, so we do e-apps through Firelight. We also have iPipeline as well. The industry is going to be moving away from paper apps, so that's something that you definitely want to start taking advantage of if you aren't. Um, for the people who have not taken advantage of our creative marketing solutions, we have lots and lots of things that can be done creative marketing wise. So we've got turnkey solutions, so we can actually have professional written handouts, flyers, newsletters, postcards, and those can be customized for your agency or for you personally. So we can work on logo design, we can do your business cards, we can do brochures. We have some things that are white labeled, so all we have to do is upload your logo design and just swap it out, so we can do the stationery, some of the advertising, personal website, which is something that I think is huge because nowadays a lot of people are digital, and a lot of people start looking up to see if you're actually, an insurance agent, to see who they want to do business. I look at it kind of like buying a car. Before I go buy a car, I don't just walk onto the lot and then start figuring out what I want. Most of the time I know what I want and have a general idea. Then I start looking around, who has this, who's this, which person is this. I go to these dealerships websites, just like insurance agents. People are starting to visit their websites to find out a little bit about those agents before they decide to do business with them. So having a website, in my opinion, is something that you should definitely be taking advantage of if you're not. We've got digital marketing strategies, social media consulting, email marketing consulting, online newsletters. We've got IAMS Wealth Management. So this will take care of and help deal with people who have managed money accounts. Most advisors see an increase in their fixed revenue as well. This will help improve client retention and strengthen relationships as well. Life and Annuity Academies, we actually have another academy coming up in August. It's a life academy, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a 2-day training. It's going to have lots of sales ideas, strategies, so you can hear from top producers, industry experts, turnkey seminar systems, life case marketing, business insurance concepts, industry best income writers, wealth transfer tools, advanced annuity sales topics, software tools as well. So if that's something that you're curious about, if you're a part of us, reach out, talk to your sales director, give us a call. It's 1-800-255-5055. So then that way you can get on board for one of our academies as well. Seaside Sanctuary is one of our big trips that we have. The trip date is going to be April 14th of 2024 through April the 18th. You have an 18-month qualification period. So qualification had started July 1st of 2022 and it ends December 31st of 2023. If you're not following us on social media, you should probably do that because we've got lots of sources. We've got also a YouTube website where our webinars are broadcasted there as well. Give us a like and a follow on Facebook and on LinkedIn. So I am going to turn it over to Brent, and Brent's going to talk to you about OneAmerica and some of their long-term care products that they have.
Wonderful. Alan, if you'll just, there we go, show my screen. Perfect, thank you. Well, as I'm pulling this up here, thank you everybody for coming out today. And let me switch this setting to, Alan, can you give me a heads up that everything's good there on your end?
I can see everything perfect.
Perfect, wonderful. Well, I wanted to just quickly start by saying every time I am a part of an IAMS webinar, I am just blown away by the tools and everything that you guys have for all the producers. So hopefully you guys take advantage of that. And certainly thank you for your time today learning a little bit about OneAmerica. So let's talk about some asset-based opportunities. And before I really get into that, hopefully you all know that, or maybe have heard of the Washington CARES Act. You'll see this state map here. Washington is up there in the green, obviously, and they just put in, as a matter of fact, July 1st started a new tax for all of their constituents. All W-2 employees now are getting a tax each month to fund the Washington CARES Act, which is really to help them relieve some of their Medicaid strain, if you will, the budgeting for that. But not only has Washington now put this in place and started taxing their constituents, but there are about 20 other states that are now lining up right after Washington and looking at some same legislation to put that in play. You can see any of these here that are highlighted, or excuse me, I guess a color is probably the best way to put that. A color in that state, those are states that are looking to also implement some sort of taxation for all of their constituents. So I mention this for one main reason. If you happen to work in any one of those states, it is incumbent on you now to talk to your clients about putting a long-term care plan in place, because most of these other states, if and when they do implement something like Washington did, will not give kind of a runway as Washington did. Most of them will say, as soon as that law is enacted, if you don't have a long-term care insurance policy, you can't apply for a way to get out of the tax. And the main reason, or the main way to be excluded from that tax, is to have a long-term care plan in place. So really, again, what I really wanted to highlight on this slide is that there are a lot of states looking at something like this. And if you want to help your clients, make sure that you're talking to them about long-term care planning and put some sort of solution in place so that they can be excluded from the taxation. So very briefly as well, the ones that are probably closest, California could be enacted as quickly as January 1st of 2024. And so thought I would quickly mention that. Some other ones, New York, we don't do business in New York, but that's another one that's close. Pennsylvania and Minnesota, those are key states that are probably the closest to rolling out something like the Washington CARES Act. So not to scare you, just wanted to make sure that you had that information and you're talking to your clients about planning for long-term care. So what's the biggest objection that we run into? And really it's the self-funding objection. This is never going to happen to me. I will self-fund if and when it does come. And, you know, that can be a solution. I fully understand that, you know, some clients may want to choose that choice. But let me just show you maybe what may happen. So here's a very well-balanced portfolio, right? You've got your aggressive funds, you know, they're poised for big growth, but they come with the most amount of risk. You've got your moderate funds, again, poised for growth, but not as much risk. And then you've got your conservative funds, really meant to preserve capital. Many times they have guarantees in that. So let's just look at maybe a claim situation. I'm going to call it a male, female. They you know, we got a married couple here, and let's just say that one of them happens to go on claim. Well, that claim cost them $125,000. They were going to self-fund, right? So it's just one of that couple that is now on claim. So does that 1 year of claim really impact their overall, you know, portfolio, which is planned or earmarked for retirement? No, it really probably would not. Yes, it would impact a little bit, but it's not going to, in the grand scheme of things, probably not impacting that greatly. But what happens when we start to see multiple years, or if both clients go on claim at the same time? How quickly can we eat up that whole portfolio that was planned for retirement, earmarked for retirement? Those funds are really allocated to suffice any of the plans that they have in retirement or any of those income needs. So you can see how quickly that can add up. Now, the concept of asset-based solutions, which we offer here at OneAmerica, is just a little bit different. So let me tell you what I'm, or explain this concept, if you will. So is there a better way to self-fund? We certainly think so. So you've got that same portfolio, again, well balanced, that sort of thing. But what we're going to do is take a portion of that portfolio, reposition it, basically move money from the left pocket to the right pocket, if you will, because it's still their asset, still their money, but we're just going to reposition that into an asset-based solution, which gives them the ability now to plan for any long-term care services in the future. And beyond that, we can actually add what's called a continuation of benefits rider that can pay for the entire length of care for either one or both people. So a couple things that I want to hit on here. One, this is a differentiator for OneAmerica. We have the only asset-based solution that has a lifetime benefit solution, meaning that we can pay for the care for both individuals as long as either one of them would need. And we do that because we also have what is called a joint policy. So we can put either just one person, or we can add two people to a policy that would be on a joint basis. So they have one policy, they're sharing those benefits, but we have that COB rider that can last up to a lifetime. That is really what puts the true peace of mind in anybody's planning for any long-term care expenses. Now, what's another reason that consumers really like this asset-based way of planning? Remember, I said this is still their asset. They're just typically, moving money from one pocket to another, or creating an ongoing income stream, whatever that or premium stream, whatever way they want to do that. But there's some guarantees that are all built into these plans as well. A guaranteed cash value. So if they wanted to walk away, they've got the guaranteed cash value. Yes, there is a 9-year surrender charge. However, it's still their money. It's their asset. They're going to use that first for any long-term care planning needs. There's a guaranteed death benefit. So if they never need it, and one of the other objections that I ran into on the long-term care or traditional long-term care planning was, what if I never need this? I put all these premiums in for years and I never need this, so it's a use or lose it scenario. Well, this guaranteed death benefit will say, if you never need it, now it gets passed on to the beneficiaries. So any of their legacy concerns that they have, they create this with the same sort of asset-based solution as well. Guaranteed long-term care benefits that will not change. Guaranteed premiums, so you're not going to get a phone call in the future saying, hey, I got this rate increase notice from my long-term care provider. Why are my premiums changing? So all these guarantees are built in with these asset-based solutions, and this is really why I see a shift in the marketplace when planning for long-term care from the traditional market to this asset-based solution. So let me get into this just a little bit further, because I really want to make sure that you understand this concept. It's a really easy concept, very simple to understand. And if you can get this concept down, you can easily explain it to your clients as well. And it starts with a base policy, right? So it's a base policy, either a life insurance policy or an annuity. So we've got both chassis. Again, that's another differentiator here at OneAmerica. We're the only asset-based solution that has both chassis to choose from. So again, that's a base policy, that's their asset. That's the benefits that they are going to use first when they have some sort of LTC claim need. Then we have the ability to add our continuation benefits rider. And as I said, that rider can last for up to a lifetime. So it can go on for as long as either a single individual or both of them would ever need any long-term care income needs for those expenditures that may happen. So very simple concept here, base plus rider, okay? Hopefully you get that. Base policy is their asset. The rider is really where we pick up all of those catastrophic expenses, and that's when that rider would kick in. So I get a lot of questions when I'm doing this live. So I'd like to also just present this, I guess, in a timeline, if you will. So people ask me live, well, how can you provide a lifetime income stream specifically for those long-term care expenditures? Well, let's remember, we're going to start with the base policy, right? It's their asset, the client's asset. So on the first day of claim, they're going to invade, if you will, or use their asset first. So if it's the life chassis, they're going to use the death benefit towards any of those expenditures. If it's the annuity chassis, they're going to use the annuity value towards those expenditures. So first day of claim, they use their base policy, their asset. But once that base policy gets exhausted, that's when that continuation of benefits rider kicks in, continues that same income stream that they were already receiving, and again, can last up to a lifetime for both of them. Now, we see this lifetime rider on our policies over 60% of the time. So we're seeing a lot of this lifetime benefit planning. And again, when you have, whether it's a single individual or a joint, it doesn't really matter. What we're seeing here is when you have that lifetime benefit structure, you know that's the true peace of mind that comes when any long-term care planning is discussed. So that's what we're seeing overall on our block. Now I wanted to dive into asset care, which is our life chassis. It's a whole life chassis. I'm going to get into annuity care just a little bit here as well. I'm not going to go through all of our solutions. Again, Alan and really all of the life marketers, the whole team there at IMES are there to help you greatly with any client situation that you have. So I would say heavily rely on them. Just bring them your client situation and let them talk about, let's see which chassis may work the best. Hey, Alan, I'm getting a little feedback. Is it maybe from you? Could you mute your line for now?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm going to start with asset care, and then we'll go into annuity care. But again, I'm not going to go through all the solutions. We just don't have time for that today. I really wanted to focus on a couple that I think you'll really find great opportunities to plan with your clients. So first and foremost, we've got a number of funding options that we can use for asset care. So single premium is where these asset-based solutions were founded, if you will. We've been doing this now for over 35 years. So that's designing policies, filing to make sure that the states approve them, administering policies, and most importantly, paying claims. We are one of the leaders in this space and the longest in this asset-based LTC planning space as well. So single premiums is where this was all founded. But we also recognize that not everybody has the ability to just either reposition their portfolio or have that single premium available to put a plan like this in place. So we've also created what is a recurring premium scenario. I'm skipping down to the bottom there. So recurring premiums. So we've got not only a single pay, but we've got a 5 pay, a 10 pay, a 20 pay, a pay to age 95. So that's really an annual pay, if you will. So we've got lots of ways that we can fund these solutions. And as a matter of fact, as of last year, 2022, 66% of our business was on a recurring premium basis. So maybe gone are those days of the single premium. And I do think that that's somewhat indicative of the environment that we're living in today, the market as it stands, the inflation rates, the high interest rates, or higher interest rates, I should say. So I think that that's fairly indicative. But again, I just wanted you to know that we've got both single premiums and all of those recurring premium options. We also have a full return of premium scenario. And then one that I'm really going to be focusing on, at least on our life chassis, is the annuity funded whole life. I don't necessarily prefer the name. I think that that's a lot of words in one name for a solution. This is all asset care, but I'm going to call that the qualified solution, and I'll get into that here in just a little bit. But I also want to know that there's some great features that are built into these plans as well. First and foremost, issue ages. So we can plan with your clients from age 35 all the way up to and through age 80. So that is the widest breadth of ages that are available. And again, unique to OneAmerica, we have the most ages that we can plan with these types of solutions. Waiver of premium is included, which is great. So any of these recurring premium scenarios, waiver of premium is included. I will say this, for any of you producers that are in California or working in California, waiver is a little bit different in that state. They haven't approved our latest version yet. We're still waiting for California to approve. And if you've lived there, you kind of know what the DOI is all about. So it's a little bit different in California, but and even the solution I'm going to be talking about today is a little bit different. So if you're in California, just know that up front. We can work with those today. I just don't have the time to get into that. A 0-day elimination period for home health care. Where does everybody want to start receiving care? Look, nobody really wants to receive care. We all believe we've got this S on our chest and it's never going to happen to me, right? But if and when they do, and there's a high probability that they are going to need some form of services in their lifetime. But if they do, where would they prefer to start? Obviously at home. They don't want to go to a nursing home or an assisted living facility or something like that. They want to stay at home as long as possible. So we give a 0-day elimination period for any home health care that is received. Now, there is a 90-day elimination period for all other facility type of care. So I wanted to mention that off the bat. However, here's the best part. So 0-day elimination period for home health care, any of those days that they're receiving care at home count towards that 90-day elimination period for all facility care. So let's say somebody's been receiving care for, I'm going to call it 100 days or 120 days. It doesn't really matter. Anything 90 or above, if they've been receiving that care at home, now that is satisfied that elimination period for any facility care as well. So great little feature there. We've got international care, more prevalent on the coast than maybe in the Midwest, the need for that, but just know that we've got that option for you as well. And our claims concierge, and this is a great program that we get so much positive feedback from. First and foremost, when that claim starts, it's a very tumultuous time for any family member, right? Somebody in their family needs care. They don't know who to go to, where to, find care, all of that. So basically what they do is they call into our claims concierge and they start the process for that. Now they would still need to find that, but our claims concierge can certainly help provide them with some good providers in that area. But first and foremost, what I really wanted to talk about with the claims concierge is they're all in the US. So many companies now have pushed their claims out to a exterior country, if you will, and sometimes there's language barriers there, and it just makes it frustrating for any consumer that is trying to claim. Ours are all here in Indianapolis, where our home office is. So they're going to talk directly to one of our staff members there in our claims concierge service there in Indianapolis. No language barriers, if you will. And they are going to be the single point contact for that whole claim from start to finish. So no calling in later, re-explaining things, all of that claims concierge is really there. Like I said, we get a ton of great feedback on our claims concierge program. All right, so that's the features. Now I really wanted to go into maybe 2 little known opportunities that are out there for you and really hit this on a pretty in-depth level, if you will. So I'm going to start with a hypothetical question because we're not live here, so I can't take those answers. But, if you think about where Americans are saving today, what vessels, where are they actually saving? Where is that money being accumulated? Well, I think most of you would agree with me that it's in qualified sources, right? So they're saving in 401ks, 403bs, IRAs, whatever that case may be. Qualified sources is where the majority of funds that Americans are saving today are being housed. So with that being said, Did you know you can use qualified funds to fund a long-term care plan? Well, we've got a wonderful solution here at OneAmerica, and I'm going to talk about that just a little bit. But why is it good for consumers? Well, we can use one person's qualified dollars. So if you've got a married couple and they want to put a plan in place for both, we use one person's qualified source and then put that plan in place for both. So really cover two people with one retirement account. We're going to spread out the taxation, and I'll talk about that in just a little bit. A couple other things that I'm going to hit on while I go through this presentation. RMDs, so required minimum distributions. I'm going to talk about that. Inherited IRAs, another good aspect of this solution with OneAmerica, and then some gifting strategies. I'm going to leave you with one of those as well. For producers, obviously this is a great market because America is so top heavy in qualified funds. As a matter of fact, this is a fairly, well, it's getting older now, if you will. This is a Vanguard study as of 2020 that there was $8.8 trillion, that's trillion with a T, in defined contribution plans. So these are all qualified sources, right? So we're so top heavy as Americans in retirement savings and qualified funds. Why not use that opportunity to plan for long-term care? All right, so what am I talking about? Well, let's get into asset care. And again, this is just the annuity funded portion of it. I'm going to explain why there's annuity in this naming. It's still on our whole life chassis, but I'll explain all of this as well. All right, so where are we typically going to find the money? Well, of course, any qualified funding vessel that they're saving money in. IRAs, personal IRAs, Roth, whatever the case may be. 401ks, 403bs. You know, with Roth, we can use that, but the taxes are already paid. Probably maybe not the best solution there. But IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, any qualified source that they've got out there, we can certainly use that for funding. Now, there is one thing that I want to point out on this slide. You'll see the available issue ages there at 59 and a half up to age 80. Remember, I told you that asset care is available from 35 up to age 80. But here, since we're using qualified funds, we don't want any individual to incur a penalty. So that's why we say we're going to use this at age 59 and a half up to age 80. So I thought I'd quickly show you that as well. All right, so let's talk about what I'm put some a description, if you will. Let's go through a hypothetical example here. So now I've got a male and female, age 60. We're going to use some qualified funds here, and I'm going to call it hers. Let's say that she used to work for an old employer, had a 401k there, kind of left it there. It's just been growing over some time, and now it actually is up to 200,000. So we're going to take a direct trustee to trustee transfer from whatever trustee held that money in that account. We'll take that directly over and put it into a qualified annuity, and that's where annuity comes into the naming aspect of this. But we're going to put it into a qualified annuity at OneAmerica. So direct trustee to trustee transfer, no taxation involved there at all, just like a direct rollover would be. But right off the bat, once they make that transfer, we're going to give it a 25% bonus. So that 200,000 that came over gets this 25% bonus, so an extra 50,000. Now we have a total pool of $250,000 that we're going to use to put in a 10-pay base and rider solution. Remember those terms that I talked about earlier, the concept base policy plus rider. So we're going to use the 250,000 to put in a base and rider solution here. So over 10 years. So we break that 250,000 down into 10 equal parts to fund the base and rider solution over those 10 years. So breaking that down into 10 equal parts, that is $25,000. Now, one of the things that I want to point out is, well, let's just show you how that is distributed between both the base policy and the rider. But really what I wanted to highlight here, over those 10 years, because we've got a money source that is going from a qualified to a non-qualified source, if you will, that distribution will be taxable. So in this particular example, it happens to be 25,000. I mean, whatever that amount happens to be over those 10 years, that amount is taxable. So you must make sure you tell your clients that each of those 10 years, they're going to get a 1099-R, and that will be for whatever this amount is. Now, if they happen to be age of majority and RMD eligible, and they don't need that RMD for income, they're just looking for ways to satisfy that RMD, you know, they're being forced to take it out, this distribution can count towards their RMD calculation. So that's one of those little known facts in this that I really wanted to point out, especially when you're doing any of the retirement planning with your clients that are being forced to take those RMDs. So now I've kind of showed you how this works. Let's look at what the benefits that they got out of just doing this one and done simple solution. Over $8,000 per month per person for as long as either one of them would ever need care. So any expenditures that they have as far as long-term care needs are concerned, they've got over $8,000 per month per person. So a great way to plan for long-term care needs. And again, using a simple one and done solution with qualified funds. Now, one thing that I want to point out here as well is inherited IRAs. And why do I say that? Well, Secure Act changed a couple of years ago, right? There's now Secure Act 2.0, but originally, Secure Act 1.0 said any non-spousal inherited IRA situation must be drained in 10 years. So that works perfectly with this whole asset care annuity funded strategy with OneAmerica, because they would drain it out in 10 years, right? So even with Secure Act 1.0, it worked great. Now, what 1.0 or what 2.0 really kind of redefined was that in that 10-year distribution, it now must be paid out equally over those 10 years. In Secure Act 1.0, it just said you could wait till the very last day of the 10th year and then take the full distribution. Or you could do some combination thereof. Secure Act 2.0 said now it must be an equal distribution over those 10 years. Again, the IRS is looking for ways to increase their revenue. So why is this a good solution? Obviously, it satisfies the the paid out over 10 years. There's a great 25% bonus that's applied. Distributions certainly are taxable, but we're spreading that out over that 10-year time frame versus taking a one-time hit. And again, there's no penalty, even if that client is younger than age 59 and a half. Again, the Secure Act rules say we understand that some of these non-spousal inherited IRAs will be less than 59 and a half. We're not going to penalize them. There's no 10% penalty. So again, a great strategy using a non-spousal inherited IRA to put a long-term care plan in place. Now, the last thing I wanted to really hit on or give you as an idea around using qualified funds is treating this as an IRA gifting strategy, if you will. So I'm going to use that same, male and female age 60, but we're gonna put some extra verbiage behind this. Now it's the son and daughter-in-law of an 80-year-old mother. So the 80-year-old mother is the son, or excuse me, is the mother of the son, age 60, and then that's her daughter-in-law. Now, all the inner workings and numbers throughout this situation are going to be exactly the same, right? The difference here is what the source of funding this plan is. So this can be used as a gifting strategy while the mother is still alive to put a great plan in place for her son and daughter-in-law. So again, all the numbers are the same, nothing else changes here. The biggest difference is the source of where those qualified funds are coming from. Now, why is this important? Well, mom pays taxes in her bracket. Typically, it's going to be lower, right, than the son and daughter-in-law. So that's a good thing, counts towards her annual gift. Now, this one was $25,000 per year. Obviously, the annual gift is $17,000. That may increase in the future. But if it was under that, you know, again, all that portion counts towards our annual gift. Son is the owner of the life policy. So while we're using mom's funds to fund the plan, the son and daughter-in-law are still the owners of that life policy. Creates that great solution for each individual there, the son and the daughter-in-law, and all tax-free LTC coverage. Also creates a legacy if her son and daughter-in-law never need the care. That death benefit is going to be passed on to the grandchildren. So it's a great way for, again, this mother to really see some things while she's still living being used with any of those qualified dollars that likely she was just going to pass on anyway. So nice little gifting strategy there. I wanted to kind of hit on that for you as well. Now, some summary and key points here. One thing that I didn't mention, unfortunately, every once in a while we'll have two spouses come in and one's just uninsurable. And unfortunately, that just happens. That's underwriting. It doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Here's what's interesting about this solution as well. Even if the spouse that we were going to use their qualified funds is the one who is uninsurable, we can still use their funds to put the plan in place for that insurable spouse. So wanted to quickly hit that high point there as well. Again, we talked about this, that income-based bonus, that's 25% right off the bat. So as soon as that transfer comes over, we give it that 25% bonus. What a great bonus. Spread out now to pay over 10 years, both the base and rider solution for them. All claims are tax-free, obviously, and then distributions from that annuity IRA can count towards the R&Ds if that client is the age of majority, right? So I thought I'd quickly hit on that one again as well. All right, so opportunity number 2. Told you I was going to hit a couple of them. Many of you already know this. Annuities right now are hot. With the interest rates rising and so on, annuities are really on the forefront of sales and people's minds this day and age. So with that being said, you're probably already recognizing this, but with that being said, let's talk about some annuities. As I said, OneAmerica is the only asset-based carrier out there that has both a life chassis and an annuity chassis. So we actually did a Gallup poll of non-qualified annuity owners. This was a number of years ago. And it was interesting, some of the statistics or information data that we really pulled out of that study. 83% of those that owned non-qualified annuities intended to use that annuity to avoid being a financial burden on their children. Does that sound like long-term care? Certainly it does. 73% said they intend to use that annuity as an emergency fund for catastrophic illness or nursing home care. Again, a long-term care event. So many of these clients out there that have existing non-qualified annuities, they've had them for years. Many times they're outside of surrender charges. But what happens is they've got a lot of embedded gain, right? A lot of interest that's embedded in that contract because it's grown over the years. So that becomes a tax time bomb, if you will, if that's when they're going to use this non-qualified annuity just to satisfy these types of costs. So briefly, I wanted to look at the annuity marketplace. Look, there's 4 main reasons that people buy them. 1's growth, 2's tax deferral, guaranteed income, or again, to guard against any catastrophic illness, so that long-term care event. So I like to ask this question, and I'm going to ask it of you, but I'm asking you then to talk to your clients or potential customers. Do you have any non-qualified annuities? And is that non-qualified annuity where it should be? So what do I mean by that? Whoops, I got a duplicate slide in here. I apologize. Well, I want to bring in the Pension Protection Act. The Pension Protection Act was enacted back in 2010. So we've got 13 years now, the Pension Protection Act being in play, if you will, but it really afforded us some great opportunities for planning for long-term care. And here's what I mean. So an existing non-qualified annuity, obviously we've got the cost basis, which is the amount that they purchased that annuity for. But then the longer they've had it, the more gain is in this contract. And that is all taxable once they start taking distributions from this annuity. What the Pension Protection Act did was really allow us to take any existing non-qualified annuity, 1035 exchange it into a Pension Protection Act eligible annuity, which all of our annuity suite here at OneAmerica is. They're all Pension Protection Act eligible. And just by doing that 1035 exchange, now that whole amount in that annuity is income tax free if used for long-term care. Remember, if we look at those statistics, 83% and 73% really planning to use it for any long-term care events. Well, let's say they put a 50,000 into the original contract, the original annuity way back when. Well, now it's gained another 100,000. So if they left that there and only used it when they were going to, had a long-term care need, each distribution from that annuity is going to be taxed, right? So the gain comes out first. So it's LIFO, last in, first out. So the gain is going to be taxed. So any of those distributions, they're going to be paying tax on that. So they would not get the full amount of 150,000. They may get, 115 or 120,000 of that $150,000 annuity. But by just 1035 exchanging that into a Pension Protection Act eligible non-qualified annuity, all of that becomes income tax free for long-term care. And we can still add our continuation of benefits rider as well. So great way to just talk to your clients if they've got any existing non-qualified annuities, and especially those with lots of embedded gain. I love this slogan, tax deferred to tax free for long-term care, or for LTC. That sounds better, rhymes better, if you will. So thought I would quickly hit that as well. So if you're familiar with doing 1035 exchanges, I do want to mention this as well. Many of those may be singly owned, right? But they're now married, or they only took it out on one person for some reason, even though they were married. So we've got a provision here at OneAmerica. We call it the eligible person provision. So if it's a singly owned contract, we still can 1035 exchange that and then add the eligible person. So now really what happens, even though it's still singly owned, we're following the like for like rules in 1035. Now we have joint access for both spouses. So both spouses can use any of that non-qualified annuity for any long-term care services. If it's joint ownership, it just comes over as a joint 1035, and we still follow the like for like rules. So I wanted to quickly mention that as well. Now, I'm not going to go in depth to any of the solutions. We've got 3 here on our annuity care chassis, if you will. Original annuity care. We started selling this back in 1998. And what we did with this one, because it's older, we've made some enhancements with Annuity Care 2 and indexed annuity care. So I really wanted to hit the highlight, or the area maybe that you could use annuity care, original annuity care, if you will. So if you've got clients who are being forced to annuitize and you can't find an option for them, they really don't want to take that annuitization. They don't want the money. They just want to keep it growing tax deferred, and you can't find another solution. annuity care, original annuity care is a great option up to age 87. So again, add another 7 years for planning on that, up to age 87 if it's a base only solution. So just do a simple 1035 exchange, keep that growing, building over that time frame. So base only solution up to age 87 on original annuity care. Now, annuity care 2 and indexed annuity care are where we're seeing the bulk of the business today. Annuity care 2, very simple to understand and explain to your clients. This is a straight leverage play, if you will. So for ages 40 to 69, it's 4 times leverage, meaning they give us 100,000, we're going to give them a $400,000 pool to draw from. So 4 times leverage, right? So pretty self-explanatory, easy to understand and explain. The difference here is that the COB rider is built into this contract. So that's kind of where the leverage piece comes from. So you're not adding that as an optional rider. This is built into the contract. So that's where that leverage comes. Now, for ages 70 to 80, it's 2.5 times leverage. So pretty straightforward there. It's annuity care 2. It's your basic leverage play. The last solution that I'll talk about here is our indexed annuity care. So why do people want to look at indexed annuity care? Well, they like participation in the market, right? They want to gain all that upside, if you will, or gain a portion of that upside in the market with no downside risk. Excuse me. So it's an indexed annuity. So can participate in the gain, but no downside risk. Issue ages here from 40 to age 85. The other thing that I really like about indexed annuity care, there's some internal crediting strategies that are growing the LTC benefit balance as well as the annuity. So the indexing is all based on the S&P 500. So there are 5 crediting strategies there. So that's the annuity portion of the contract. The LTC benefit balance is also growing by some internal creditings that are happening in this solution. So it kind of acts like inflation. So I like this indexed annuity care as well. Certainly with joint situations, really see a lot of that as well. So that's as in-depth as I'm going to get on the annuity care solutions. But why also use annuity care? Well, you know, it's a little bit different than asset care underwriting. We've got 5 simple knockout questions. And if they can answer no to all of these questions, we do a script check, an MIB check, and then it's just accept or reject, typically turn it around in 72 hours. Now, if we add the continuation of benefits rider, that COB rider that I keep talking about, that's the rider portion of the base and rider concept. If we add that COB rider, there will be a telephone interview that will happen as well. That's more for the cognitive side, so that's more the morbidity underwriting, if you will. So we need to make sure that they're not cognitively impaired. So anytime you've got the COB rider that you're adding to one of these solutions, remember on Annuity Care 2, it's already built in. You're going to have this 5 knockout app or question app plus the telephone interview. But if you're going base only, just the 5 knockout questions. So pretty straightforward knockout questions here. You know, are they using any mechanical devices? Wheelchair, walker, dialysis, oxygen, motorized scooter, that sort of thing. Are they currently needing or receiving help in any of their activities of daily living? Do they currently have, or they ever been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, dementia, multiple sclerosis, muscular dystrophy, you know, ALS, Parkinson's disease? Again, the biggies when we're talking long-term care planning. Have they ever been diagnosed with AIDS or AIDS-related disorders? And then are they currently or have ever received Social Security disability? So again, 5 simple knockout questions. If they can answer no to all of them, script check, MIB check, and generally turn those around in 72 hours. Now, who's OneAmerica? I maybe should have started with that. But look, we've got these great solutions, but I wanted you to know that we are a leader in this space. We can trace our roots back to 1877 as an insurance company. We're A+ rated from AM Best. Our current Comdex is 95, so very strong financial strengths. We were one of the first to market with these asset-based solutions. Our first iteration was in 1988. So as I said, over 35 years now of working in this type of planning space, and we're a mutual company. So we're always thinking in terms of the consumers, your clients who actually purchase these policies. So we're always thinking in terms of those consumers and making decisions that would be best for those individuals. We're not a stock company where we've got to just report our stock earnings, either the greatest amount of gain or slightest amount of loss in any one quarter. So where I really see long-term care being planned today is with mutual companies. Now, briefly, I think we're getting close to time here, and I probably, I think Alan's got a couple of questions he wants to ask, but I wanted to just at least populate some key links. Again, you can go to your wholesaler there at IAMS. They're certainly happy to provide you any of this. A great website that I'll talk about is experiencecaresolutions.com. And why is this such a great website? Really, you can use this in any email campaign that you want to do, or even a calling campaign, a mailing campaign, however you'd like to do it. But basically, it's a website. Yes, it is branded or marketed to OneAmerica. State Life is actually the paper that it's written on. But OneAmerica, they'll go through these tabs kind of on the left-hand side. It's really a scrolling. If you see that little image there at the bottom, that's like a rolling scroller on your mouse. So they can actually scroll through these tabs and really kind of prepares them for, hey, how are you going to spend retirement? Eventually it comes to a call to action, page at the very end. Ready to take your next step? Well, talk to the person that gave you this. But we can take this a step further and actually customize this for you as well. So that would come to that last step, and your information would be there, not mine, obviously. So, but it's a great way to again do some sort of just general information out to your client base and get them starting to think about long-term care planning, and then a great way to follow up with them as well. I may not be connected with any of you. I may be connected with some of you, or maybe all of you. I'm not sure, but I do a fair amount of work on LinkedIn as well. Just like IAMS, I'm connected to them. I'd love to connect with you. You can either scan that QR code or just look me up on LinkedIn. I also wanted to give you just our contact information here at OneAmerica. But with that, what I'm going to do is turn this back over, Alan, to you and see if there's any questions.
Awesome. Thanks for all the great information. Let's see here. I know I wanted to launch our poll questions here.
Yeah.
I don't see any hands raised on here. So I'm going to go ahead and launch our first poll question, since I don't see any hands up on the questionnaire. Let's see here. So our first poll question: would you like more information on the topic discussed today? So I'll give a little bit of time for people to go ahead and click on that. Looks like we got quite a few yeses on here. I think we'll give about 40 more seconds or so, let everybody get a moment to answer that poll question. Then I'll launch the next one as well. There's going to be a total of 3. Now, Brent, since I do have you on the line, I did have a question because it came to me right before the webinar. Are there any states that, other than New York, that this isn't, that you're not doing business in, or is it only New York?
It is only New York.
Okay.
So all other states we are available.
Perfect. That answers that question. All right. the next poll question that we're going to launch. Would you like to get contracted with OneAmerica? So we'll give about a minute or so, let everybody answer that. All right, got about 30 seconds left. Keep going. Go ahead and answer the poll so we know how we can serve you the best. If this is something that you definitely want to get contracted in, go ahead and answer yes. Don't be shy. So then that way we can reach out to you and kind of give you the next steps. So that way we can get this into your product portfolio. All right, we've got one last question. I do appreciate everybody's time answering these. This is the last question. Do you need an illustration on a client or want to discuss with the designer?
And I'll say this, Alan, since they're answering those questions, they may have further questions on this. And again, please reach out to Alan, the team there at IAMS. They're happy to help with that. If it's something a little bit more in depth, I'm always available. I've got my internal as well. So we're here to help you just as much as IAMS is.
Yeah, thanks. We definitely appreciate that. And any one of our life or annuity sales directors can help you with that. I'm on the life side, so if I'm not available, one of our life sales directors can still help you with this information. If you don't have our number, that number is 1-800-255-5055. I'll give just a couple more seconds for this poll, and then I will wrap everything up. All right, perfect. I do appreciate everybody's time and joining us on the webinar. I know Mondays are often a pretty busy day, especially coming off of the weekend. So I do appreciate everyone taking their time to join us for this webinar. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. The number here at IAMS is 1-800-255-5055. Brent, do you have any parting words?
No, I'll just say thank you to everybody for your time and attention today. Certainly appreciate that. Your time is valuable. So appreciate your attention.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for your time. Hope to talk to you guys soon. Thank you.